Hi, everyone. Hopefully, everyone's doing well, staying safe. I am more than ecstatic to be here with Laideen. She is the owner of Laideen and Co. Financial Group. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Shanice. Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think what you do is amazing, and you have so much information and a wealth of knowledge that people need. What do you do?
So I'm actually an advisor. So I do financial consulting. So I provide basically it's like holistic financial planning. And a lot of people ask like, what's holistic financial planning? Like, how
That's
does
my question.
how does holistic go with finance? But to be honest, it's basically holistic in the fact that I look at everything. I look at finance as a part of your overall wellness. And so I look at it from a wellness perspective in terms of making sure you're holistically taken care of. So every level of your finances is working well for you.
Amazing. So, for the most part, what are people looking to have rectified or get more information
It
on?
really depends. Like my clients, they come to me for all different kinds of reasons. They're at all different kinds of stages in their life when it comes to their finances. From just getting started and needing help with budgeting, or debt repayment, or just maybe needing help even putting together some financial goals. Maybe they're at the very beginning and they don't even really know where to start or what to do. So we get really clear on that. I can provide investments. So some of my clients are really big on, just growing their wealth. So it really just depends on what stage of the game the client is actually in.
Okay. Can we talk not tips and tricks, but there's probably so much to know and you see it all the time. Is there anything that people kind of really don't know, but in your opinion, you're like, people need to know this. This is like vital.
Yeah, an area that I find most people are not paying that much attention to is really their retirement plan.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times people think, I'm really young, or, retirement is down the road. So, I'm not going to really focus on that yet. But the thing is, the earlier, the better that you focus on your retirement. It's really like you're creating your future life, right? So you want to get a head start on that and get to it as early as possible. It's not something you have to super focus on, but it's something that we should definitely be having that conversation.
Thank you for that advice. That's a good one, actually. Is there something that people should be doing during this time of COVID?
Oh yeah. So during COVID-19, there's a lot of downtime, I think. It's caused us to really take a moment, take a breath, and just pause. And as people are just rethinking everything, like the way they've been living, the way they've been working, it's really good to take this time to really zero down on your finances, your financial goals, learn your numbers. I mean, during a time like this where there's so much uncertainty, there can be so much anxiety. One of the things that takes away that anxiety or that pressure of not knowing what's going to happen is getting really clear on your numbers. So whether it is like you're an entrepreneur, getting really clear on your income, like what you are usually able to bring in, getting really clear on your expenses, just on your spending habits, what you're doing with your numbers, like getting really focused and really clear on these numbers will take away a lot of the anxiety and give you an understanding of what you need to do when we get back to normal. Who knows when that's going to be, right? And it will also give you a better understanding of what you may need to do, what you may need to cut back on or get help with during this time as well.
Talking about scaling down, do you have any tips for people that are like, oh, I haven't considered finding the extra change in my couch or something of
Mhm.
that sort? If you're looking to scale down, here are the areas where people are spending the most money and not really realizing it.
Yeah, so the number one overspend in like the biggest categories that people are spending in would be uh, food and eating out. and travel, right? So transportation, I would say, transportation. So with COVID-19, a lot of the travel costs have been really minimized because we're not spending that much on gas, and if we are going anywhere, gas has been really low, so that's helped. We've also been able to take advantage of things like premiums, not having to pay our insurance premiums, things like that. So we should have seen a, a decline in the transportation costs. But I think one of the areas that we really should zero in on is food and eating out. During COVID-19, there's been a lot more, grocery store runs, a lot less, restaurant trips because the restaurants have been closed down. So you just really want to try to carry that forward. If you've been able to see savings in the food budget, try to carry that forward when you go back to your normal regular routine.
Absolutely. I would love to learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
Who are you? What made you get into this industry?
Okay, so that's a really great question. I ask myself that a lot. To be honest, the reason why I got into this is because I was in the financial industry for 13 years prior to opening my own firm. But while I was in the industry working for the large corporations, I did see that there was a lack of focus on females and female minorities as well. So what I wanted to do was open my own firm and kind of really hone in on financial literacy. So that's really was my driving factor. Like I myself, I have 4 children. One of them is an adult and 3 little ones.
Wow.
And yeah, now being a single mom and having to work full time, take care of my little ones as well. I realized that there's a lot of people in that boat, and sometimes finances get thrown to the back burner. But I thought that if I make it easy to approach, easy to implement, that a lot of individuals would actually take action, and we'd see a lot of growth in this sector of women minorities.
So I know you mentioned that prior to you opening up your own firm, you worked in the banking industry.
Yes.
What made you get into that industry? Have you always had a passion for
Yeah,
money, numbers, and education?
definitely. It's actually a funny story because I went to school for architecture. So a lot of people say, how did you make the jump from architecture to finance? Well, what happened was I was in architecture in university, and then I got a job within the bank to get me through school. I kept, rising, getting promotions and whatnot within the banking industry, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. So I just continued with it upon graduation. The thing is that I absolutely love numbers. So even with architecture, there was a creative side to it, but it was really, it's a very numbers-based, profession as well. So I really just translated a lot of that skill set, planning, numbers, all of that into finance.
Good for you. Talking a little bit more about your background.
Hmm,
So you love numbers.
I do.
Was there something as a kid you imagined and dreamt of being?
I did. I don't know if it had much to do with numbers, but I really wanted to be a vet. I love animals too. Yeah, I love animals too. They're my soft spot as well.
Okay, so I want everyone to know, especially during this time where it's downtime, this is the perfect time to reevaluate where you're going, kind of pause, pivot, and make some goals. Can
Mhm.
we talk about how people get a hold of you?
Definitely. So you can always give me a call. My phone number is 647-449-1016. That's probably the best way because I'm pretty chatty. I love talking. I love to always have a conversation, and I pride myself on building relationships with my clients. So if giving me a call is probably the best way. You can also get me on IG. I am at Laideen and Co. On Facebook at Laideen and Co. as well. And by email is laideen@laideenandco.com. So any one of those ways, shoot me a DM, text, call me. I prefer calls. Say hi. I'm easygoing. So,
Perfect. Well, I think that was a pretty comprehensive interview. Is there
mm,
anything else that we haven't touched upon, but perhaps we should mention?
um, I just think that really what we should talk about is, that we haven't really touched on is a lot of times people are a bit hesitant to contact an advisor. They think it might not be for them, or they think maybe their situation is irreparable, or they think they have to reach a certain level or status of wealth first. But I would just say that financial advice is for everyone, regardless of where you are, what stage of the game you are in. It is definitely, you can always have a second look at your finances and have someone just give you a little bit of advice.
Amazing. So you just sprung another question in my brain. Do you deal with credit?
I do in terms of the area of, say, debt repayment, and that usually boosts the credit as well, and how to get a plan to tackle things that may be hindering your credit. So I do look at credit as well, in terms of like a credit program that eliminates the debt, or like a consumer proposal or whatnot. No, I don't do that. So I definitely do look at credit and help my clients tackle their credit. So hopefully I answered your question. It was kind of a roundabout way.
No. Is there one last minute tip that you can give regarding credit? Like what people should know that, I don't know, we might not know about
Yeah.
credit? Credit's so important.
Yeah, credit is so important because, in this society that we're in, people say cash is king, but at this point, it's really credit is king right now, right? If you want to get ahead, even if you want to borrow money for investing purposes or whatnot, just to grow your wealth, your credit is a factor. So one tip that I would say with credit is that most people don't know, like they will pay their credit card all the way off, but carrying a balance of about 30% or under is actually a booster for your credit. So for them to for the credit for lenders to see that you have 70% available of your credit and you're not touching it, it shows that you're not credit dependent, and it also shows that you respect credit and you do use it. So it will boost it faster than you having a zero balance.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed speaking with you, and thanks for all the information that you shared. If you guys are looking to get a hold of her, please reach out. As always, always like, comment, and mostly make sure to share her video. This is some great information. Thanks so much. Have a good
Bye.
day.
Thank you.
Bye.